To counter Russian aggression, Ukraine has tried to persuade the West to provide them with their best aircraft. Demands for aircraft have been a constant part of Ukraine's request for military aid from the West, no matter how many months of fighting against the Russian invasion. In February of 2022, the Ukrainian Air Force managed to remain airworthy, and Kyiv is aware that Russia has a distinct and significant advantage compared to the Ukraine in terms of combat aircraft numbers. The initial weeks of the invasion saw repeated Ukrainian requests for aircraft. Ukraine's President Volodymyr ZELENSKY and the administration prioritized Western delivery of combat aircraft in the days leading up to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Additionally, President Zelensky also made direct appeals to U.S. lawmakers for them to facilitate the transfer of Soviet-made combat aircraft currently held by Warsaw Pact-NATO countries, which received some positive support on Capitol Hill in the early days of the war, in addition to similar unsuccessful calls for a no-fly zone to be created over Ukraine. As a result, the Ukrainian Air Force began requesting F-15 and F-16 fighters built in the United States. However, in March, a prospective plan to transfer Ukraine-Polish MiG-29 fighter jets fell apart. U.S. authorities may have held off on delivering F-15 and F-16 fighter jets because of the enormous logistical challenges of supplying American fourth-generation fighter jets to Ukraine. Is it a go for the Slovakian MiG-29 transfer? Slovakian MiG-29s may be on the verge of being purchased by Ukraine despite previous difficulties in acquiring Western-owned aircraft. According to Slovakia, if ally countries stepped in to protect Slovakia's airspace in their absence, they would be willing to send these deadly planes to Ukraine for support. Although they have grounded their whole fleet of 11 jet MiG-29s, Slovakia has previously stated that it would be willing to deliver its MiGs to Ukraine. According to a July 3rd announcement by Czech Prime Minister Petr Fiala, Czech aircraft would begin patrolling Slovak airspace in September, with the Slovak counterpart Edward Hager in attendance. Because of a contract signed with the United States last year, Slovakia plans to replace its MiG-29s with F-16s by 2024. To get Western-style warplanes, Ukraine needs the help of the West. As far as Western aircraft are concerned, Ukraine's request for such aircraft from the United States and other Western countries have met with only partial success. David Baldwin, Adjutant General of the California National Guard, was one of the most prominent voices in favor of supplying the Ukrainian military with Western combat aircraft in the U.S. under the National Guard State Partnership Program. However, U.S. politicians are concerned about the potential escalatory repercussions and logistical practicality of providing such planes, which Major General Baldwin's position has found little support for thus far. A few lawmakers on Capitol Hill seem to agree with this idea. On June 17th, Adam Kinzinger, a Republican from Illinois, and CHRISSY HOULAHAN, an independent from Pennsylvania, introduced a bill allowing the United States to begin training Ukrainian fighter pilots on U.S. aircraft, even if those planes are not yet scheduled to be provided to Ukraine. F-15 and F-16 fighters, which have been requested by both Ukrainian government officials as well as citizens, are still not on their way to Ukraine, as the administration of U.S. President Joe Biden is reluctant to provide modern weapons that could be used in a conflict with Russia. Ukrainian odds of acquiring NATO-owned MiG-29s, which it had requested earlier, have increased significantly since the conflict began. Still, Western-designed and built aircraft remain far less likely to be delivered. The F-15 is undoubtedly out of date when compared to stealth jets like the F-22 and F-35, but the F-15's combat record is absolutely remarkable. What's in store for this fighter plane in the future? The McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle is the best of the 50 or so fighter planes that flew in the 1970s and 80s for various nations. An air combat record of 104 victories and 0 losses under numerous national flags has earned the Eagle its legendary status as the champion of the skies. Because of this, you might be shocked to find that America's most successful air superiority fighter entered service as an underdog. It was designed to take on what Western countries believed to be a new Soviet superfighter with unprecedented speed and dogfighting skills. In addition to having the largest engines ever attached to a fighter, this plane could reach speeds above Mach 3 and altitudes over 80,000 feet. In the eyes of U.S. defense officials, it had no equal in the country's arsenal. As a result of this paranoia, the design of the Eagle was inspired. The Soviet Foxbat, however, was never what the United States thought it was. For this reason, the Eagle was designed to defeat a hypothetical jet that had no equal. In the process, it became an unbeatable warcraft in the real world. During the time which the F-15 was being developed, the world was significantly different from the one it currently flies over. The end of World War II had made the United States the world's most powerful country, thanks in no small part to its robust economic base that the fight had not destroyed. Still, probably most crucially, America was the world's only nuclear power. Just 4 years after the atomic attacks on Japan, the Soviet Union successfully tested an atomic bomb of its own. It was a decade-long arms race that we now refer to as the Cold War, and the United States did not appear to be leading it when it started. During the 1950s, the Soviet Union was able to produce both atomic and thermonuclear bombs as well as the United States. The fighter with mystical skills in the Foxbat crisis. A high-speed interceptor plane was needed to counter America's nuclear-capable supersonic B-25 Hustler. However, when news of America's plans to field the North American XB-70 Valkyrie reached the Kremlin, the MiG-25's development was expedited. By the time the Valkyrie was scrapped in 1961, Lockheed's famed engineer Kelly Johnson was already hard at work on the A-12, another Mach 3 aircraft that would lead to the YF-12 interceptor design and its legendary sibling, the SR-71 Blackbird. Mikoyan Gurevich began developing a fighter aircraft capable of flying fast and high enough to catch everything the United States shot at, all while carrying a hefty payload of air-to-air missiles. There were claims about a prototype Soviet aircraft known as the YE-155 that was already smashing speed records in 1965. Until 2 years later, at the 1967 October Revolution Air Show in Russia, 3 pre-production MiG-25 fighter jets were flying in view of the cameras at a certain point during the performance. 2 massive jet inlets nearly as large as the fuselage, which meant they had created a standard fighter on steroids. This jet was equipped with large afterburning turbofan engines confirmed by its massive exhaust outlets on the back, each approximately 60 inches in diameter. As impressive as the MiG-25's engines were, the U.S. was more alarmed by the plane's enormous wings, which were 661 square feet. This big engine-packing fighter was thought to be both fast and nimble due to its larger wing area, which allows for more evenly dispersed weight distribution. Moreover, because the aircraft resembled parts of America's FX fighter program, which aimed to produce an agile fighter aircraft, there were already concerns that this new aircraft would be an unstoppable force. This only served to fuel those anxieties. Trying to build an eagle that can hunt a foxbat. During the Vietnam War, the development of the F-15 Eagle began when American F-4 Phantoms were matched against slower Soviet fighters despite their superior top speeds and air-to-air missiles. By its introduction, the MiG-25 demonstrated just how critical it was to have a dedicated air superiority fighter. McDonnell Douglas designed America's new superjets in 1969, which looked like F-14 fighter planes. With a thrust-to-weight ratio of 1:1, this revolutionary fighter plane would be quick in combat thanks to 2 Pratt & Whitney F-100 afterburning turbofan engines. Its 42-foot 10-inch wingspan was aided by its broad fuselage. Will the Biden administration send the approved planes to Ukraine, or will Ukraine be left alone during these hard times? Time will reveal everything. That's all for today, guys. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and press the bell icon for any new updates. See you in the next one.